Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to my channel. And if you're just viewing my channel for the first time, welcome to my channel. My name is Badikis and I make DIY videos on modest outfits, hijabs, jubabs. So today's story is on how to make two-piece jubab, kind of like a skirt and then a hijab or jubab on it. So I'm like 5 feet 2 inches, so you can increase the measurement that I used in this tutorial. If your height is more than mine, then you can reduce it depending on your height measurement also. So let's get right into the video, and don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. So this is the final outcome of our jubab. So we should have something like this at the end of the tutorial, inshallah. So this, just make trying it on. Then if you want your hijab to be longer than mine, then you're going to have to use more fabric than I used, because in this tutorial I used about 4 yards to 4 meter fabric. Then if you want longer hijab, you'll be using about 5 yards to 5 meter fabric. And that's about 144 inches by 60 inches fabric. So the length of my fabric is about 60 inches, or about 370 centimeter by 152 centimeter fabric. So the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to fold my fabric into two. So I'm assuming that's the 4 yard or the 4 meter fabric part, and the shorter part is the 60 inches part. So I'm just going to fold it twice at the 50 inches part. So that's basically what I did on my fabric. So I just folded my fabric into two. So after folding into two, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my skirt length. So for me, my skirt length is actually 40 inches or 1 or 2 centimeter. But because I'm going to include the elastic at the waistband, so I'm going to add 2 inches for the elastic. So that's going to make it 42 inches or 107 centimeter. So I'm just going to mark my skirt length around. I'm going to check that out. So you can work with your own skirt length. You just take your tape from your waist to floor length to get your skirt length measurements. So after getting it, I'm just going to cut it out. Then I'm just going to open up my fabric. So after opening it up, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create an elastic opening. And if you don't know how to create this, after opening up your fabric, you just take your tape and then your chalk, then you mark 2 inches around. You just mark 2 inches or 5 centimeter. So that will be enough for this type of elastic, if you are using this type of elastic. So I'm just going to start marking my 2 inches or 5 centimeter. And I'm going to connect all the points. So I'm done marking. So the next thing I'm just going to do is I'm going to fold about 1/4 inch or 1 centimeter. Then I'm going to take it to my chalked parts, and then I'm going to stitch all over. So I'm going to stitch it all to the other edge. So I'm done stitching it. So the next thing I'm just going to do is I'm going to take a tape that is exact measurement of my waist. So my waist is about 25 inches or 4 centimeter. Then with the head of a safety pin, I'm going to insert my elastic to the fabric. So I'm just going to start pulling. So I'm just going to pull. When I get to the first edge, I'm going to hold it down with a straight pin, and I'll just continue pulling. I'll hold it down with a straight pin. Then when I get to the other edge also, I will hold it down with the straight pin. So I'm done fixing my elastic. So what I'm just going to do now is that I'm going to stitch on the elastic at the middle part of the elastic, and then I'm going to join my skirts. And the reason we are doing that is just to secure the elastic. We don't want it dancing all around. And please make sure that when you are stitching on your elastic, you are pulling it. And that is because you still want to make sure that you retain your stretchy skirt at the long run. So I'll just go ahead and stitch on that. After which I'm going to join the skirts. So I'm done stitching. You can see the middle points. So I stitched on it already. So I'll just go ahead, put the skirt together and join the side. I'm going to trim off the excess elastic. And I'll just join it. So we are done with the skirt. So the next thing I'm just going to do is I'm going to hem the lower parts, or you can still overlock it. So I'll just go ahead and hem the lower part of the skirt. So this is the remaining fabric now. It is still folded into two. Then the front length of my hijab is 40 inches or 102 centimeter, and then the back length of my hijab is 50 inches or 130 centimeter. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my front hijab length, which is 40 inches or 102 centimeter. I'm just going to mark that all out. Then after marking it, I'm just going to fold my front length or my back length. If you don't want to do this, you might just cut it out and then fold your front on your back. But for this, I'm just going to fold it on it. So after folding, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my head circumference divided by 4. So my head circumference is 20 inches divided by 4, so that's 5 inches or 13 centimeter. Then from that point, I'm going to slant my tape to 30 inches or 76 centimeter. So I'm slanting diagonally, then I'm just going to mark it. So I'm just going to connect those 2 points. Then after connecting, the next thing I'm just going to do is I'm going to insert my sleeve measurements. So I will take my tape around my round sleeve, and then I'm going to divide the measurement by 2 and then insert it. So for me it is 5 inches or 13 centimeters, so I inserted it there already. So the next thing I'm just going to do is I'm going to go in from the points. I'll go in by 5 inches or 13 centimeter. So after marking that, I'm just going to make a line to the last edge of the fabric there. So I'm just connecting the point to the fabric edge. After which, I'm going to drag my fabric, then I'm going to take the midpoint of the upper parts of my fabric, that is the front length, and then the midpoint of the back length also. So I'm just going to mark that, and then I will mark for the down part also for the back length. After which I will come up from that line by 2 inches or 5 centimeter. So I'm just going to mark 2 inches or 5 centimeter, and then I'm going to connect it to the midpoint. Then from that same point, I'll connect it to the midpoint of the back piece. So what I'm just going to do next is just to cut out my markings. So I'm just cutting out. So like I said earlier, you could still make your hijab longer than mine. So you can work with any length you want. So I'm just going to open up that part. So after cutting out my hijab piece, what I'm just going to do is I'm going to open up my back piece. So this is my back piece. Then I'm going to place my front piece on it, right side facing each other. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to join the sides. The diagonal line we formed there, I'm going to join it. Then I'm going to join it at the other side also. Then I'm going to leave the head opening or the face opening. So after joining the sleeve part there, the next thing I'm just going to do is I'm going to join the sides, and then I'm going to leave the sleeve opening. So I'm just going to join the sides that way. So I'm done joining it. So this is it on the right side. So the next thing is just for us to cut the hijab cap and then cut the hijab band. So I have a fabric of 42 inches or 107 centimeter by 8 inches or 20 centimeter. So what I'm just going to do first is I'm going to fold it into 2. Then after folding into 2, I'm going to fold into 4. Then after folding into 4, I'm going to come to the folded edge there, and I'm going to insert 4 inches or 10 centimeter. So after inserting that, I'm just going to come to the last edge there, and I'm going to take 1.5 inches or 4 centimeter. After which I'm going to connect those 2 points. And then I'm going to cut it out. You could always make your hijab cap with the rope longer if you want. But I think between 42 inches to 45 inches is okay for the length. So for this now, the next thing I'm just going to do is I'm going to stitch the rope parts to that edge there. So after stitching, I'm just going to turn it to the right side. So after turning, you can just use your pressing iron to press it down. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the midpoint of my head opening. And that's just the midpoint of the back part of my hijab. So I'm going to chalk it out. So after chalking, I'm going to start fixing my hijab cap from the points. So I'm going to take the notched part of my hijab cap to the chalked parts, and then I'm going to pin it all. Then I'm pinning to the 4 inches part that I marked earlier. So I'm just going to pin to where I joined. So I'm pinning to that point. Then I'll go to the other side also. I'll pin to that point also. After which I will just take it to my sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch just that point. So after stitching, I have that. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to fold the remaining part of my face opening twice, and I'm going to hem it. So I'll just go ahead and fold it twice and then hem it. Then this is for the sleeve band. So this is about 8 inches or 20 centimeter fabric by 8 inches or 20 centimeter. So the next I'm just going to do is I'm going to take my waist measurement. So my waist measurement is 7 inches. So I'm going to fold the fabric into 2, and then I'm going to fold into 4. Then after folding into 4, I'm just going to insert my waist measurement, and then I'm going to stitch it out. So I hemmed that part already. So I'm done with my band. So I'm just going to fix my band to my sleeve opening, right side facing each other. So I'm just opening it to the wrong side, and then I'm going to fix my sleeve there. After which I'm just going to stitch it all around, and I'll do the same to the second sleeve opening also. So after stitching, we have this for our jilbab piece. So the last thing I'm just going to do to this now is that I'll go ahead and hem the lower part or overlock it, any one of the two. I'll go ahead and hem it or overlock it. So this is for a two-piece jilbab. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and I hope you find it helpful. And if you do, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And you can share with anybody that might actually find this tutorial helpful. So this is just me styling it or giving the jilbab tutorial for it. So you can use it as a niqab or any style you want. So thank you so much for watching. And I will see you in my next video, inshallah. And if you have any question, don't forget to drop it in the comment section. And thank you for watching my video and for supporting me. Jazakumullah khairan. So take care of yourself. Bye. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.